Former New York State Attorney General Dennis Vacco joins us here. Dennis, a lot of people wonder, the gentleman who shot the truck was charged right away. Here we have an individual killed. Why are we waiting so long for charges?
The case that involves the fatality, much more complicated. The case involving shooting the truck, pretty clear cut. The shooter, the hunter, was acting recklessly. And that's what he was charged with, reckless endangerment, that he should have perceived, he should have known that there was a risk, that the way he was shooting his gun, that there was a risk that somebody was going to be wounded or injured. The case involving the fatality, much more complicated. I think that the DA's office and the Sheriff Department ultimately want to know, was this conduct that the hunter engaged in, was it criminal? And if it was criminal, what's the difference between criminally negligent conduct versus reckless conduct? And that is a big difference, because under our homicide statutes, if they chose to charge him with criminally negligent homicide, it means that he didn't perceive the risk. He didn't understand that there was a risk in the fashion that he shot that pistol that night. Whereas reckless conduct, which is results in a potentially higher charge under our homicide statutes, manslaughter in the second degree, involves whether or not the hunter knew that there was a risk and disregarded it, and whether that disregard was beyond the disregard that a normal person would engage in. So I think they're really trying to figure out exactly what he knew and when he knew it, and how that conduct relates to the specific homicide statutes.
Dennis, what if it was, I hate to almost use this term, what if it was just a horrible accident?
Well, it certainly was a horrible incident.
Right.
We know that the hunter was hunting after dusk, and there's, under New York State law, there's a prohibition against that. So that element right there is one thing that I think they want to know. At what time precisely was the fatal shot fired? Because then that goes to the question of whether he acted in a criminally negligent fashion or whether he acted in a reckless fashion. And again, the difference is the reckless conduct results in a more serious charge.
Would a judge look at this? Could a judge ever look at this and say, you know, this is a horrible incident? There's no question about that. We know it's a horrible incident because someone died. But there's inherent things that happen when people are hunting. Mistakes are made. No judge would ever just say that. There are definitely going to be charges in this case, right?
Well, look, I can't forecast, and I don't want to predict what the DA's office is going to do, but the Sheriff Department in Chautauqua County, along with the DA's office, will have to weigh that. You know, and part of what they have to weigh is, you know, where the victim was at the time of the shooting, and, you know, where the hunter was and the time of day, whether it was past dusk or not, and whether he disregarded a risk that he should have perceived, or whether he was just acting in a negligent fashion, in a criminally negligent fashion. I do think that there will be charges. I mean,
you've been a prosecutor. Would there be someone looking at jail time here?
Well, reckless manslaughter in the second degree carries with it a maximum of up to 15 years in prison. It's not a mandatory term of incarceration, but we're talking about some serious charges here. Compared to the guy who shot at the truck, charges are much more substantial involving the fatality.
Final question, how long do you think this investigation will take, Dennis?
Look, I think that the facts are pretty well known now. I think that they're trying to now sort out exactly what statute fits here. I don't think that this is months. I think it's a matter of weeks, but I think that we'll have a decision from the DA's office in the not too distant future.
Former New York State Attorney General and local defense attorney, Dennis Vacco. Dennis, thanks for your time tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Scott. Okay.